World leaders have gathered in Washington, D.C. for a NATO summit as the Transatlantic Military Alliance celebrates its 75th anniversary. French President Emmanuel Macron and British Prime Minister Keir Starmer reached Washington, D.C. on Tuesday. It marks Starmer's inaugural appearance at a global summit after coming to power. Prior to his departure, Starmer pledged to honour his campaign promise to boost UK defence spending to 2.5% of GDP, but emphasised that this increase would only occur when fiscally feasible.
In relation to defence more generally, we will carry out our strategic review to look at the challenges, the capabilities, and on the back of that make further plans. I am committed to that 2.5% within our fiscal rules, but that strategic review needs to come first. But today, tomorrow and the next day is all about standing together with our allies, discussing practically how we provide further support for Ukraine and send a very, very clear message to Putin that we will stand against Russian aggression wherever it is in the world.
NATO chief Jens Stoltenberg urged alliance leaders to maintain support for Ukraine in its war against Russia's invasion, declaring that the outcome of the conflict would shape global security for decades. The US and its allies will deliver 5 more air defense systems to Ukraine, affirming their full support for that country. The announcement came from the US President Joe Biden during an award ceremony in honor of NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg. The NATO chief was awarded the US's highest honor, the Presidential Medal of Freedom.
Nearly 24 allied partners have signed the bilateral security agreements with Ukraine, and more countries will follow. Today, I'm announcing the historic donation of air defense equipment for Ukraine. The United States, Germany, the Netherlands, Romania, and Italy will provide Ukraine with the equipment for 5 additional strategic air defense systems. And in the coming months, the United States and our partners intend to provide Ukraine with dozens of additional tactical air defense systems.
For his part, NATO chief Jens Stoltenberg said that the alliance has placed an order for the US-made Stinger anti-aircraft missiles worth $700 million. Stoltenberg was addressing a gathering of defense industry leaders on the sidelines of the NATO summit in Washington, D.C. The last contract for Stinger missiles was awarded in May 2022, when the US Army contracted $625 million worth of the anti-aircraft missiles to replenish the stocks sent to Kiev, as it is in hot demand in Ukraine, where they have used it in the fight against Russia. The NATO order for the Stingers will keep the production line running through 2029.
Last year, the NSPA, the Support and Procurement Agency, agreed contracts worth over $11 billion for ammunition and capabilities. And just today, the NSPA signed new multinational contracts for Stinger missiles worth almost $700 million.
US President Joe Biden has pledged to defend Ukraine against Russia's invasion. He also sought to reassure allies at home and abroad that he can still lead. Biden has endured 12 days of withering questions about his fitness for office, as some of his party's lawmakers and campaign donors alike fear that he will lose the 5th November US presidential election after a halting debate performance on the 27th of June.